Ding, 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 ding. They love the ding, and there's a good reason why. Back when I first started learning about and selling options, I used Robinhood. The commission-free trading was great, but I was selling a lot of credit spreads back then, and Robinhood was a little bit clunky for that. But I continued to learn more about selling options, the wheel strategy, and more complex options trading strategies with multiple legs. I learned about rolling, I started watching the Tasty live shows with Tom Sosnoff, and I saw how easy it was to trade these strategies and roll these complex positions using the Tastytrade platform. But I was really into it for a couple years there, and I ended up with a crazy list of positions that looked a lot like this and this. I've recently transferred assets to Robinhood, and I'm once again selling options there. So in this video, I want to explain why I switched from Tastytrade back to Robinhood. And stick around to the end for a bonus segment where I'll tell you about 4 Tastytrade features that I miss now that I'm back at Robinhood. The first reason I went back to Robinhood is commissions. Working from home in those pandemic years and watching a lot of Tasty live shows meant that I made a lot of trades in that time using Tastytrade, and I paid a lot in commissions and fees. I don't have the stomach to investigate exactly how much I paid, but I'm sure it was in the thousands. Tasty charges $1 to open an options contract and nothing to close it. For equity options, this is capped at $10 per leg. But this can add up very quickly. It did add up very quickly when I was trading spreads, iron condors, jade lizards, and rolling positions right and left. Tastytrade is purpose-built for trading options, especially selling options, and they make all of this very easy. The more you're trading strategies with multiple legs, the more you're rolling, the more money Tasty is making. Ding, 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 ding. They love the ding, and there's a good reason why. Tastytrade also has an exercise and assignment fee of $5. Now that's also an issue, especially when you're doing the wheel strategy like I was, and getting assigned and exercised is part of that plan. All of this stuff added up, and it might not have hurt so much if I was actually making money with these strategies. It was a struggle, especially in 2022, but that's not Tasty's fault, that's on me. But I have learned some lessons from that time, and one of them is that complex option strategies, the kind that Tasty promotes, are very effective at generating commissions, but they don't seem to work for me. Compare this to Robinhood, where there are no fees for trading options aside from the required regulatory fees that all brokers have to charge. There are no base fees, whatever that is, no exercise and assignment fees, and no per contract commissions. Now, I know someone out there is going to argue that you get better fills with Tasty and that makes up for the commission that they charge. That may be the case, that you get better fills at Tasty. I'm not going to argue that one way or the other because I just don't know. The fills seemed fast and efficient over there, but I have no way to accurately compare. But even if that's true, it really only matters if you're doing multi-leg strategies, the kind that Tastytrade makes it so easy to do. It's really not an issue with the slower paced wheel strategy on highly liquid ETFs that I'm doing now at Robinhood. And that brings me to the next point. Earn interest on uninvested cash. Robinhood is offering a decent interest rate on uninvested cash. If you sign up for Robinhood Gold, which costs $5 per month, you earn 5% on your uninvested cash, along with some other benefits that I personally won't get much use out of. But since I tend to be cash heavy in my option selling account, this interest earning situation was very appealing. One thing to be aware of, however, is that you only earn interest on truly uninvested cash. If you are using the cash as collateral for a cash secured put, you don't earn interest on that collateral, unfortunately. Some brokerages, such as Fidelity, apparently do let you earn interest on cash secured put collateral. Unfortunately, because Robinhood sweeps your cash out to actual banks instead of into their own mutual fund, they don't allow double dipping. But comparing this situation to Tastytrade, which currently pays jack squat in interest, this is a big upgrade for my uninvested cash. Mobile app. This one wasn't a deciding factor for me, but Robinhood's mobile app is way easier to use than Tastytrade's. So if I'm out and about or at the office, it's very easy for me to check in on my positions and trade if I need to using Robinhood's mobile app. Robinhood was built basically mobile first, so it makes sense that they excel in this area. Their whole platform was designed around a touch experience. Tasty's interface, on the other hand, is a lot more complicated, and their mobile app struggles with all that complexity. Robinhood is just a simple experience and maybe even a better experience on their mobile app than on their website using a computer. 1% transfer bonus. Robinhood paid me a 1% transfer bonus to move my assets from Tastytrade to Robinhood. I made a whole separate video on this topic, so if you're interested, check out my video, which I will link to here and in the video description. This bonus wouldn't have been enough to get me to switch if I was happy at Tastytrade, but I was looking to switch anyway. So this just made me act with more urgency and get everything transferred over. Since I was bringing over a sizable amount of assets, I earned a pretty nice bonus of $1,200. The big catch though is that those assets must stay at Robinhood for 2 years in order for me to keep that bonus. Yeah, Robinhood actually claws back part of that bonus or all of it if you don't keep the funds that you transferred in the account for 2 years. So those are the reasons I left Tastytrade for Robinhood. It really comes down to a fundamental change in the way I want to trade options. I've moved to a much more conservative, simple, and slower approach over the years, and Robinhood lets me accomplish this easily, simply, and free from commissions and fees. Tastytrade, on the other hand, is just overkill for the way I want to trade. So I've made the switch without regret so far, but there are some features that I'll definitely miss about Tastytrade. Here are 4 features from Tastytrade that I miss now that I'm using Robinhood. Implied volatility. Tastytrade makes it very easy to see the implied volatility rank for any underlying. I really enjoy being able to see the daily fluctuations in IV and see how that corresponds to higher or lower premiums. I enjoy being able to sort underlyings by IV, see where the overall market IV was at, and just have an awareness of IV that I'm not able to get at Robinhood. At Robinhood, you can click into an option and see its IV, but it's just not prominently visible to the user. Delta. Tastytrade displays the delta of each position and the delta of your entire portfolio up at the top, and this is very useful for when you have multiple positions or complex positions on and you want to see basically how long you are, how long your entire portfolio is relative to the market. Like if the market goes up or down, how much can you expect your entire portfolio to go up or down? This information is critical for the sort of trading and strategies that Tasty promotes, so it makes sense that they have it so prominently visible, and I do miss keeping an eye on that. One-click rolling. Rolling is still something I plan to do a lot at Robinhood, and it's not quite as easy to do as at Tastytrade. At Tasty, all it took was a right click and then select where you want to roll, or you look at the option chain and point and click at your new position. At Robinhood, it's more screens, more clicks, a little more clunky. Not a huge deal for me, but it is something I'll miss. Order chain. This might be the feature that I'll miss most from Tastytrade. The ability to see the order chain and keep track of your roll right in the platform. Now, when you roll options, you buy to close one position and sell to open another, and hopefully you do all that for a credit, but it can be a challenge to keep up with how much credit you've actually received after rolling your position even once, never mind multiple times. With Robinhood, I have to rely on my own separate spreadsheet to keep track of these rolls and how much credit I've received. At Tasty, the order chain keeps track of this for you, tying your rolls together into one chain that you can easily follow. Very easy and convenient. I should also mention that the customer support that you'll receive with Tastytrade is way better, way more responsive than that which you'll get through Robinhood. All right, that's what I have for you in this video. If you enjoyed this one, give it a like. I would appreciate the support. Also consider subscribing to my channel for more videos on saving, investing, and early retirement. Thanks for watching.